fell in love with history, which I basically learned is just learning about stories of the past and your interpretation of it and how you tell that story in a way that people in the present can understand it. So I think always had just like a love of stories. Ended up getting my first marketing internship at Slack, which is like a great place to, get your first marketing stint at. And that's actually where I got introduced to product marketing. Fell in love with, the product is amazing, the company is amazing, the culture was phenomenal, had a really, really fantastic manager. And I think that's where I learned the power of stories. Slack was such a revolutionary product when it came out. So a lot of the product education was really telling the story of how can organizations use Slack to be more successful. It's not just a chat app, right? It's like so much more than that. And I think that's where I learned the power of product marketing is how do you one, identify with your core audience? How do you tell them the value propositions that they actually care about? How do you empathize with their pain points? And then how do you give them a solution, which is your product, in a way that they actually understand and care about? And how do you talk about the features that they actually care about from a benefits perspective, and not just talk about how great you are? It's about them. It's not about you. So I would say Slack taught me a lot about how to do that. And then as I've kind of worked at various early stage startups, that was sort of what I got tasked with, was figure out how do we tell the story of this product, of this company, of this brand that we're building in a way that resonates with the people who are ultimately going to buy. I think there's this adage, like, if you build it, they will come. That is not true. I think most people know at this point it's not true. And I think stories is how people come. And if you can tell a
Mm.
compelling story, if you can appeal to not only like what makes your product like great, but actually appeal to the emotion, like what is the hair on fire problem that your prospect is suffering from? How do you make them look good in front of their exec team? How do you help them save money? How do you help them save time? How do you like really appeal to like the human in them, not just the title in them? That's where I think stories are so powerful, and that's where I think product marketing is really powerful. People, when they tell stories, it's emotional, it's not necessarily fact driven, and that's kind of what you're trying to pull out. Like, don't be afraid to be human in your copy. Like, people do not like marketing jargon anymore. It goes way over the head, or people are just like, you don't actually understand my problem. But if you can speak to the problems in their language in a way that they understand. So, for example, at Lumos, we target IT professionals. They love Star Wars, so a lot of our ads include like Star Wars references, and it like clicks because they're like, cool, they know me. So don't be afraid, especially in this market right now, to be a little bold, be a little daring in the storytelling. Especially as an early stage company, like if you're competing against like a large sales force or something, they can't afford anymore to have fun, but you can as an early stage company. And that's kind of what helps you win ultimately in a very noisy landscape, is that humanness. So allow your product to be human.